Now, Newsweek senior foreign policy writer Tom O'Connor joins us now live from Staten Island in New York. Thank you very much, Tom, for joining us here on
Pleasure.
TRT
Thank you.
World. Now, on the one hand, President Biden has warned his Russian counterpart that Washington might impose harsh economic sanctions on Russia if it plans to invade Ukraine. But on the other, he says that he's not going to put U.S. troops on the ground in Ukraine. Now, is Washington giving a green light to Russia to invade Ukraine?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say they're giving a green light, but I do think that it does kind of demonstrate how Russia does have an upper hand in this situation. Of course, this is right across Russia's own border. This is Russia's sort of historic sphere of influence, its strategic buffer zone between Russia's own territory and the West. And we know that the Western alliance, NATO, has been expanding east. And this is part of Putin's biggest ask right now, is saying that, well, the NATO alliance can no longer expand any further east. Now, Ukraine's not a NATO member, but of course it's seeking NATO membership, and that process has kind of been on and off for a few years now. But I mean, the U.S. is sort of putting an economic front line on this, saying, listen, if you violate these demands, then we will sanction you, and those sanctions could be pretty bad. But I mean, at some point, military power cannot simply be stopped by sanctions. It doesn't seem that that's been the case, at least in prior scenarios involving Russia and other countries.
Now, Tom, when you say a military power cannot be stopped just by sanctions, certainly that means the U.S. has not taken the right approach this time.
Well, I think it depends on, obviously what you think the right approach would be. I mean, the U.S. is not looking to get into a fight over Ukraine, and I think that putting U.S. troops on the ground, the U.S. has obviously a mandate to protect its allies in NATO, and Ukraine not being an ally, the U.S. doesn't have that sort of commitment to Ukraine. It has a commitment to support it with military assistance, with economic assistance, with various packages, but the U.S. does not feel at this point, and this is not just the Biden administration, of course, but prior administrations as well, that it would be worth sending U.S. troops to actually defend Ukrainian territory when there is no actual agreement for that. It would actually be quite a difficult case for the Biden administration to be able to make that legally.
All right, Tom O'Connor, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.
Pleasure. Thank you.